Good morning. I'm Chaplain John Rollison with the Dobbins Air Base Chapel, and I want to take a few minutes this morning and share with you some different resources that you can use this year as far as Bible reading plans and for devotions as well. I quote Ecclesiastes a lot where Solomon writes, "There's nothing new under the sun." Nothing I'm going to say is original or cutting edge. It's simply different tools that can be used for reading scripture that have worked for me. I realized the other day that about 15 years ago, I purchased this Bible for $5 at a Lifeway. And as you can see, it's an English Standard Version daily reading Bible, just simply paperback. And it's broken down into sections where if you read a couple of chapters from the Old Testament, a couple of Psalms, and a couple of chapters from the New Testament every day, at the end of the year, you'll have read through the entire Bible. I bought this cheap Bible just as a tool. I bought a lot of them and gave a lot of them away. I kept one for myself, and it's been a blessing to me. I've used it off and on for the past 15 years, but it's been my pretty consistent as far as whenever I want to read through the Bible in a year. This is my go-to resource. The Bible reading plan that's in here, you can also find this online on a Crossway. They're the publishing company for English Standard Version. They have a lot of Bible reading tools on there as well. Same with Zondervan. They're the publishing company for the New International Version. There's a lot of resources online. I won't get into all that, but I might reference a couple as I go through. But again, the English Standard Version daily reading Bible, used that for the past several years. A couple of years ago, I also bought this. It's called Devotional Psalter. This is actually the box that it came in just to keep it nice. And it's the Psalms with a devotion written by Dr. Ortland. I think his first name is Dane, but I'm not sure. He did a great job with the devotions that are in here. So if you read a Psalm a day, do the devotion. Last year, I did the Bible reading through here and followed the plan for the Psalms, but I read the Psalms from this book and did a devotion along with them. That was a blessing. I plan on doing that again this year. I found it to be very encouraging. Now, a couple of years ago, I read, I think it was on the Alpha and Omega Ministries website, one of the authors, he had recommended, instead of reading through the Bible in a year, to study the Gospels intensely for a year. And so I say a couple of years ago, it's actually more like 7 or 8 years ago. I did this because it was what was recommended by the author on that website, on that ministry's website. But it's a synopsis of the 4 Gospels. This is from the Revised Standard Version. And what this is a breakdown of the Gospels. It's a harmony of the Gospels, and they're broken down into pericopes, which that's just a section of thought or a section of writing in the Gospels. And so it's broken down, and there's 367 of them. So a little bit more, but you could study those throughout the year. Take one a day. And then, of course, at the end of the year, whenever you want to, just kind of add the extras. And that will help you study the Gospels extremely well throughout the year. That was a blessing. The only thing with that is you're not exposed to a whole lot of Scripture. It's just I hate to say just, but it's the Gospels as opposed to the whole Bible. But sometimes it's nice to break it up, I think. Something else that I find helpful, and this isn't necessarily a breakdown or anything for writing, but or for reading rather. But one thing that I got for Christmas a couple years back that I've enjoyed very much is a journaling Bible, and it's simply a Bible with wide margins where you can write in the margins. Some people don't like to write in their Bible, but this Bible is made to be written in. Whatever brings you peace as far as that goes. I like that very much, especially if you're doing a devotion or you have a thought as you're studying and you want to jot it down. I'm good at taking notes, but sometimes I'll forget where I put the notes. And so if you have the journaling Bible, you have it right there with you, which is a nice resource. Something else is nice. I got this just last year and did it for 1 month. It's called The Focused Life. David Jeremiah's ministry has these. You can just give them a donation and they'll send it to you. And it's a reading for 30 days from the Proverbs and then one Psalm. And you can go through it for a month and you can read through the Proverbs and read through the Psalms. I enjoyed it. It's the New King James Version. I never stick with just one translation. I think they're all fine. English Standard, Revised Standard, NIV, New King James. Whenever I'm asked what is the best Bible translation, I always say the one that you'll read. So as we're going through here, you're gonna see a couple more translations before I'm done showing all the different tools. But the Focus Life, it's a nice book. But you could do the same thing in a normal Bible. Just read through the Proverbs every day. There's one for every day of the month. So you know, that's a great thing to do as well. Now, if you want to really read a lot of scripture, you know, I'd mentioned doing the Bible synopsis a minute ago, which is great, except you're just doing the Gospels for a year. But if you really want to saturate yourself in scripture, one of the things that you could do is this, the Bible in 90 days. I did this several years ago. I enjoyed it. It is a lot of reading. You really have to commit that time to read. But it's not as much as you might think. That's an NIV Thin Line Bible, and it's about 12 pages a day. So I read it, and I actually read a little bit slow, but if you read it at an average pace, you could probably do this in 30 to 45 minutes a day if you're willing to commit that amount of time to it. I don't think that's too much to ask personally. You know, anything you do, people are going to challenge you. I remember when I was doing this, somebody challenged me and was like, well, you can't read it well. You have a good understanding of it. And I thought, well, maybe not, but it is a good way to get in a lot of scripture. Again, whatever you feel led to do as the Spirit leads. But this is something that I would recommend. Again, you don't have to buy a special Bible to do this. Really, you could just take any Bible and figure out how many you would need to read in a day to be done in 90 days or 60 days or whenever you would like to get done. And then finally, one last thing, it's the Chronological Bible. Again, several years ago, I read through the Bible, but I read it in chronological order. That's an interesting way to do it. That's simply a New King James Bible that's chronological. This is also a study Bible, so it has some study notes in there as well. And I kind of like the way it's broken down. I like the way the color of the page is. It's not too bright, and it's kind of a nice read. It doesn't hurt I don't want to say hurt, but it doesn't bother your eyes as you read it. But that's an interesting way to do it as well. When it comes to studying scripture, I really don't think you can go wrong. I know today I just mainly talked about Bibles and different ways to break it down. The only devotion I mentioned was the devotional Psalter. I will mention a couple of devotions that I like. New Morning Mercies by David Tripp is really good. I enjoyed that very much. Morning and Evening by Charles Spurgeon, and Alistair Begg did an updated version of that a couple years ago. That's great as well. Also, I really enjoy, it's not necessarily a devotion, but I like to read it devotionally. I really enjoy Brother Lawrence, Practicing the Presence of God. I just really don't think you can go wrong with that. And My Utmost for His Highest by Oswald Chambers. These are all devotions that I like. Experiencing God devotional by Henry Blackaby is one that I enjoy a lot as well. That's a book that we buy in Mass and give out here at the chapel. And here at the chapel, we also have a lot of Max Lucado devotional books that we'd be happy to give you if you want to stop by. So there's just a couple recommendations. I didn't want this video to be too long, but I pray that you will find something that you would enjoy reading this year and that you would commit to it, whether it's for a month or for 6 months or the whole year, whatever you feel led to do. But I promise you, if you're reading the Bible, if you're in a devotion, God will bless that, and He'll bless your efforts as well. Hope to see you soon. I'm Chaplain John Rawlison with the Dobbins Air Base Chapel.